Ah, this music brings you back. It really does bring me back. I also remember when games used to have their own intro videos that would play on the start screen. And when things didn't have settings. I'm just going to let this play. I'm actually trying to start the stream quite well, with this actually kicking off. Not that you'd be able to tell too much about what on earth is going to happen in this game from it. But I think that was the joy of the PS1 pre-game cutscene, is that it kind of showed you vague things and kind of quotes like this without actually telling you anything about the game itself. I think we've seen zero gameplay. There's a lot of art. But yes, this is Suikoden, as I believe it's pronounced. Suikoden 1, Suikoden the First. All the way from 1997. In many ways, the PlayStation 1's lost RPG. And a game that was probably the first RPG I ever played, back when I would have been about 7, back with my brother in like simpler times, when the PlayStation was still mind-blowing, with that sweet intro music to the PlayStation. So yeah, I thought I'd play through it, just because I'll be watching another streamer I like play through Final Fantasy VII, as a kind of a callback, obviously with the remake happening, and I thought I'd do the same, but with Suikoden. No remake forthcoming on this. In fact, it's a very hard game to play in general, and I think the series is kind of on indefinite hold, but I've got a lot of fond memories of it. I normally play it once every few years, just to remind myself of it as, you know, a game with a lot of nostalgia for me, but I think it kind of broadly holds up. So yeah, let's explore it and kind of go through it as we go along. Firstly, I'm going to name us Tyr, T-I-R, just because that's the in-canon name. Although you wouldn't know that unless you had either like read the manual back when that was a thing, or it kind of comes up in the sequel. I don't know if there's any bonuses for doing that. And one of the classic differences to all PlayStation games, it just throws you right in. No cutscene or anything like that. We're just in a room in our colourful yellow-red get-up with double bandana, I guess that is. I never quite figured out what this was, because it always looks like two bandanas, but yeah. Let's talk. I'm going to turn up the speed on this text. So, I've never really streamed a game with text before like this, so I don't think I'm going to talk through it all unless that's like beneficial. So yeah, we're having an audience, and as you can infer, this is with the Emperor. So just to give you a background, this guy we're talking to, Tio, that's our dad. And he's kind of like a famous general in a nation that we're part of, which we'll find out about in a little bit. So yeah, we are his son, and we're going to be having an audience with the Emperor. If I remember rightly, Barbarossa? Yes, and here we go. Tyr McDowell, General of the Imperial Army, and his son, me, Tyr McDowell. Tio and Tyr. This music. It was one of the things that this game is, and then the sequel does really well, is the music is pretty great, especially for like 1997 PS1 audio quality. It's pretty spectacular. One of the things I very much love this game for. So yes, Tio and Barbarossa fought together in the War of Succession, which, as you can infer, Barbarossa kind of comes out on top and becomes the king. We've got a few characters in this court here, so yes, this is Lady Windy, which does sound like some sort of product for gas. Here on the left. And yes, there's some trouble. There's some trouble up north. So would you believe our dad's being sent away in the first scene of the game? Yeah, so we're... Again, I'll just give some background bits here and there rather than just kind of reading everything out, because, you know, my voice is enough as it is without me reading out every bit of text. So basically, the United City-States of Jouston, there's this kind of war that we're having with them. And I don't think that actually comes up in this game, really. It's a reason for our dad to be sent away. But it's quite interesting because, basically, the United City-States of Jouston is the setting for the second game. With an entirely different cast of characters and people, and it's interesting they already referred to it here. And now we're handing over the sword Prack. I believe that will hold very little importance throughout the game, but I enjoy the fact that this sword is called Prack. And because this is a Japanese game, I don't know how that got translated, because Prack isn't very kind of Japanese sounding, so I don't know where they got that from. So yeah, Tio, our father, is being sent away to kind of deal with this trouble up north. And then we're here. So yeah, we are Tio's boy Tyr, an impressive little countenance. Which again I assume is some sort of mistranslation. So yeah, so basically our dad is going away. And as his son, we're going to kind of try and fill the void a little bit, even though we've done nothing. In my head, we're about 16 years old here. As we can show, like, that portrait's pretty young looking. It can be kind of like rebellious here, but we'll just be nice for now. So yeah, this is just some instructions. We're going to go meet Commander Craze of the Imperial Guard. Which is a key thing, you know, we'll be seeing a lot of these Imperial Guard folks quite a bit. Old ladies hitting on us already. So, you know, quite a lot's happened in this opening scene. It really does just throw you in straight away. So yeah, in summation, Dad's being sent away and we kind of have to do some of his chores in the interim. Right. Let's do some settings. Message speed fast. Those two have nothing to really do. That's us. We've got some stuff. God, having to navigate this. It's been a while. Playing any game without analog sticks now feels incredibly weird to just be on that strict turning circle. Who are you? Ah, Kazin Hazil. Envies Tio for the sun. Quite the compliment. So yeah, our dad's now following us around very closely. That's one of the things I remember about Suikoden is there's no sense of personal space. Just being followed incredibly tightly. Right, so yeah, we will go meet Craze and he's going to start kind of assigning us things to do, and this guy looks like an absolute douche. You know, with that kind of devil goatee and whatnot. Yeah, doesn't give a shit if we're the son of a great general and we get no special treatment, so you know, so far so JRPG. And we want to see how it should be, because you know, fuck meritocracy. Not meritocracy. What's the word? My brain keeps saying bigamy, and it's definitely not bigamy. It'll come to me. Yeah, so we've reported here just to be told basically to piss off home. As it turns out, Craze isn't a very nice man. And yeah, even your dad knows that Craze is he's not great. We've been assigned to a weakling. So we're gonna head home here in if I remember right, this town's called Gregminster. It's the kind of capital of this little nation. Cannot remember the name of the nation. So I'm not in control here. I'm just kind of being led around. Yeah, Gregminster. That's what it's called. Oh man, this music very much brings me back. Cool, so this is Gremio. We're seeing a lot of Gremio in this game, who is kind of... a lot of the relationships in Suikoden are very unclear. Because initially when I played through this, I thought Gremio was like, and some other people we meet, were family. But I believe I've realised over several playthroughs they're not. They're actually kind of like not slaves, but like kind of like house staff. And yeah, Gremio is very doting on us, and has kind of grown up with us. And yeah, so doing the cooking and whatnot. So yeah, we'll meet a few people who are kind of like basically house help. But it's not very clear, and they do kind of come across as like sisters and brothers. So yeah, so yes, another classic JRPG trait, just barging into people's rooms. But at least Cleo's calling us on our shit here. So this is Cleo, in her very distinctive getup, and again, you can see there is this kind of like kind of hired help element to it. The young master. I don't want to use the word hired help. I also don't want to use the word slave, because I don't think that's what's going on here. It's never really made clear, if I remember rightly. And yeah, everyone wants to know how it went with us meeting the Emperor, which is a pretty big deal. We don't answer, because unless we get a dialogue choice, we're pretty much silent protagonist. Yes. I forget that we get to read people. There's a lot of readable stuff here that isn't clear. But the good old days of no prompts. Pan, his diary is basically what he eats. So probably not a deep man. And Pan is asleep. So yeah. Scare will leave him alone. I mean, I'm someone who enjoys letting people sleep. I've been enjoying sleeping myself. I was woken up anyway. And yeah, this is Gremio, who's kind of like the second or third character in this game in terms of importance. Yeah, so again, I'm not going to be a douche, because also this is my stew. This is the stew for everyone's going to eat tonight, so I'd rather not get that spilled on the floor. So we'll leave Gremio alone. So please rest in our room. Which I can't remember. It's probably this one. We can also go upstairs. Oh yes, so this is Ted. So Ted is basically, if I recall rightly, basically our best friend. And as you can tell in the way that kids would be, tell me about everything that you've met with the Emperor. The ages are unclear. I think they're about 16, although Ted looks a lot younger. Ted joins the entourage, because party is not part of the lexicon here. And again, it's that classic JRPG thing that people just kind of like shoomp into you, and then they're with you. Yes, so Ted is actually more like a brother. So Tio adopted Ted, I mean, as you can see here. And I feel like we are the biological son. I cannot remember. And yeah, there's no way of getting around this. Ted is going to join the party. Yes, Windy the Court Magician. This is already laying the seeds. Windy and Ted are going to have some interesting interactions with each other. Yeah, so we'll give Ted a little bit of a debrief. So Ted has something to tell us. And predictably, we've been interrupted to go get food. So we'll have to wait for this kind of big secret. So yeah, Ted is kind of like in some ways our adopted brother / best friend. And yeah, we'll let this music kick in a bit. I'll let everyone read the text themselves. Yeah, so we just kind of get put in charge of the house despite our age and whatnot. And yeah, Gremio has kind of you'll see Gremio dotes on us quite a lot, and has looked after us after birth and would kind of put his life on the line for us quite a bit. And yeah, it's he's a lovely chap, Gremio. I've always presumed it's pronounced Gremio. A lot of the names in this game, I really don't know where they've pulled them from. Like, I've just never heard of them in any culture, apart from maybe like Cleo and Ted. Yeah, so basically Tio is leaving, is basically saying, everyone look after my son and be good to him and whatnot. It's a pretty, like, tight-knit kind of quote-unquote family as is. But yeah, so they're kind of all under this duress to do that. So this is proper PlayStation 1 graphics. So this is nighttime from the Grey Palette, and everyone's sneaking out of room to talk to each other before they leave. You can tell when it's a serious moment because it slows the text down. So yeah, Tio is leaving, and as of today, we're independent on our own. Yes, so basically we're not only filling our kind of dad's, fulfilling some of his roles, but we're basically joining the Imperial forces. So basically we're joining the army in a roundabout way. I have to do the traditional thing you must do in any JRPG, which is check everything for items. I'm going to do my best to not hoard all the items that I typically do in JRPGs. It's very tempting. So, yep, this ticks all the stereotypical boxes from a JRPG. We've overslept, everyone's waiting for us. We're starting an exciting adventure with no tragedy so far. So yeah, Pan and Cleo are going to join our party. And yeah, this is basically we're kind of starting into a bit more of a gameplay very shortly. There's not that much preamble. What's in Cleo's diary? That's locked, as it probably should be. Before games had sprint buttons. So yeah, we're just going to wake up Ted here, because I think if we tried to leave without him, it just forces us to come back anyway. There we go. Well, no point in doing that, was there? I tried not to leave you behind. Ah. So yeah, one of the big things that's quite different to a lot of games, even now, is that the size of your party in this game for battles and stuff is typically 6. Like, compared to a lot of games like Final Fantasy VII is 3, and even a lot of games modernly now don't go up to 6. So it allows for a lot more variation. So yeah, we're getting some context. Yeah, the War of Succession destroyed the town, and everyone loves Emperor Barbarossa. This one wants directions to a very unique, ugly house. And yeah, this is some guy talking about his urn. And this is one of the key, not key mechanics, one of the small mechanics in here is this idea that you find artifacts and can get them appraised and sell them for lots of money. Or as also display them. I'm just familiarising myself. So this is the inn, and that's Marie who runs it. What you'll notice is basically if a character has a portrait, they're going to be important in one way or another. And that's worth noting in Suikoden, notably because it's got this concept that's true in all Suikoden games called the 108 Stars of Destiny, which is to say don't remember the exact mythos behind it, whether it's an astrological thing. I think it's based on some kind of traditional Chinese beliefs. That these 108 stars of destiny, they all fill roles, and in how that translates into the game mechanics is that you can recruit 108 different characters into your kind of burgeoning group at various points. What is talk? Ah, there we go. So yeah, anyone with a portrait, typically, if they're not some sort of antagonist, you're going to be able to recruit at some point. So it's worth remembering where they are, because you can't recruit them all at the same time. There's no point in buying items or anything just yet. But I feel like it's worth giving it an explore. We can kind of talk about some of the things in the game while we do. So yeah, and that was always one that appeals to me, is, you know, you could recruit all these characters, and most of them are playable. Is that a room full of cupboards? Leopard patterned cape. Floral shirt. I do not remember this place. This must be a closed door. Master Milich. This is the man in the unique house. And yeah, I guess the broad concept that you could recruit 108 characters for one is quite impressive. But it's even, like, to the extent like 60, at least half of them are playable, which means in terms of your like party setups and their magic and their attacks, you could do so many different things. This is Milich Oppenheimer. Very fashionable fella. Obsessed with clothes, and one of the key generals of Emperor Barbarossa, and you'll kind of be introduced to these folks as we go along. That Barbarossa has these 4 key generals. Hamza, who we met just after the audience, is one of them. I believe Craze is one of them. Our dad's one, as is Milich. We'll be seeing lots of them. I think there's not going to be too much to do here, apart from maybe meet some characters in Gregminster. Just talk to some folks. Country bumpkins. Yeah, the bird's scared of us. Yeah, so I mean, our dad's a big deal. And in turn that kind of makes us a big deal. At least to the kind of general populace. Lady Sonia has not looked well after Tio was sent away. Oh yes, Sonia Schulen. So yeah, again, I believe we'll meet Sonia again down the road, but again, if someone's got a portrait, typically they're going to be playing a key role in the story in some way. And it's quite a wide, vast story as well. So Sonia, a little bit less senior in the army, and as you can kind of tell, a big fan of our dad's, possibly in more ways than one. They were together last night, if only for a moment. So yeah, possibly something going on there. At the very least, comrades. Alright, so let's actually just get down to what we're supposed to be doing. And this is where I get confused, because I always kind of conflate the start of Suikoden 1 and Suikoden 2. I've not really played any of the others. I've played one of them, but I can't remember which one it was. So we're being harangued by someone called the Liberation Army, who apparently to this guy are nothing but traitors. So that's this is a separate conflict we'll hear about, compared to the thing that our dad's dealing with, is this Liberation Army who are kind of rebelling against Barbarossa's rule. So here we are back at the palace. I believe there's a few more spots to explore compared to normal. This is not where we left last time, I don't think. Or maybe it is. So people notice that we're Tio's son. That guy respects us not. Cool. So let's see what we're going to be tasked with doing. And yeah, so Craze I kind of feel it's justified here. We are late for our first day at work, which is pretty big fuck up as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, we're being sent to the Magician's Island to meet Leknart the Seer. And she's been commissioned to look into the stars, and we are going to bring back the results. Get that one correctly. I was surprised to get like an attention check in the first part of this game. Yeah, so we're being flown by a Dragon Knight from the Knights of Dragon's Den. Which to anyone watching from the UK is quite an amusing name. It's our version of Shark Tank. So I'm imagining like Theopophetus on a dragon taking us on a little trip. So yeah, we're going to get flown over there. And yes, this is another key relationship to keep in the back of your head. That Leknart is the younger sister of Windy, who we met during our audience with the Emperor. And so yeah, we're already being sent on a little bit of a mission. And I'll give some background while we kind of go through this conversation. So Leknart's an interesting one because if I remember rightly, she's in most of the games. So some of the characters actually kind of carry through from Suikoden 1 to Suikoden 2 and even all the way through to 5. So yeah, she plays quite a key role in the story. So yeah, we're going on an errand. Pa wants to see some action. Cleo's a bit more reasoned about this. And Gremio's glad that we're not being put in danger. That would be a good summation of these three characters as we go through the story. Gremio is overbearing, Cleo is sensible, Pa just loves fighting. And Ted's just very excitable. So yes, I mean, it's a pretty big gun for the game to pull out at this point. It's like, 5 minutes in, like, you're going to ride a dragon. Who apparently have not made a great impression. This is Fuck. He's an apprentice Dragon Knight, and this is his Dragon Black. That's an elephant noise. I had not remembered that, but that's an elephant noise. That is not what a dragon sounds like at all. So yeah, we're going to be flown on the back of this elephant. This is a bit judgmental already to give, Fudge just said one thing to us and we're just calling him a punk. I mean, for an errand, we're already causing problems. Yeah, and this is an interesting line. Ted's claiming to be 300 years before he stops himself, or at least Gremio stops him there. Already hinting there's something a little bit up with Ted. And if he is 300 years old, that is a very short temper that you figured you would have sorted out by then. Cool. So we're all getting into the basket on the back of this dragon. And yeah, like 7-year-old me thought this was amazing. I guess I didn't realise I was hearing an elephant at the time. And it is one of the things that, I mean, it's really interesting because this and Final Fantasy VII came out like roughly the same time. And graphically they're very different. Oh, that looked weird. And they're graphically very different. And it's so kind of like somewhat a shame about Suikoden is that like it's a fantastic game, and it really did get overshadowed by the release of Final Fantasy VII. And I really do feel for them on that one because a lot of people do hold it in really high regard. But the challenge is it's just Final Fantasy VII was like I mean it's one of those all-time classic games, and it just even broadly just looks a lot more impressive. And I think it was an uphill challenge. Okay, so we've flown to Magician's Island. Oh, a little bit of an echo there. And this is where we're going to start getting into some actual combat and gameplay. So yeah. So yeah, it's like any JRPG, it's random encounters, and the enemies weird. So these are furfurs, and yeah, Suikoden has some very, very bizarre enemy design, even more so than Final Fantasy VII, as you'll see throughout. And how the combat works, it's just turn-based. So everyone puts in their actions and then they kind of simultaneously play out. So the options being like fighting, you can bribe enemies, which actually kind of comes in handy. Free will is just kind of auto action and run is to try and run away. So we'll just start out. So basically, you've got your standard attacking, and yeah, it kind of plays out simultaneously. I believe everything's got a speed stat. And then yes, we all get experience. Yeah, you can see there's like power, skill, defense, speed, magic, and luckiness. The currency is bits, which is quite apt to be streaming this on Twitch in that case. I guess we can't walk on those bits. But there's some more things just beyond the basic attacking. So you can see we've also got this option called Unite, and that's basically two characters working together to do one big attack. And I'll show you what that looks like here. Provided we don't just kill them outright. Okay, well that didn't work in terms of showing off. Everyone's going to go to level 2 and get some more bits. The other thing you may have noticed is that similar to Final Fantasy VII, there's kind of 2 rows, both for us and in the enemies, and you typically have your kind of long-range characters in the back, and those who are kind of hitting things with sticks are at the front. Okay, this should be a good chance to show off the Unites. And again, these bizarre enemies, these Holly Boys, whatever that means. Oh yeah, I think these early battles are very simple just to kind of get used to the system. That's a miss. And yeah, so there you go. You see they kind of work together and deal like a lot more damage than we were seeing out of everyone else. And it's one of those unique things. Like you don't this was in the era where all the JRPGs are kind of experimenting with kind of what your fancier attacks were. So instead of this limit breaking, you can have these unite powers. At this point I can already start just letting them do free will. And yeah, it's quite a good one for this game, again, because of the fact that you have like 60 playable characters, is that it's one of the reasons to kind of mix up your parties, kind of to find these ones that have the combination unite attacks. Get some medicine. Oh, this music is pretty good. We actually get a mix of them here. Again, I'm just going to free will these early fights because you just can pick them off in largely one hit. Nope, or maybe not. It's interesting, these early battles seem quite simple. They can get very chaotic later on as we level up to level 3. Because suddenly you have like 12 different, between the player characters and the enemies, you have like 12 different attacks playing out at the same time. And that can be a bit difficult to follow. So yeah, and we've got our various array of weapons people are using. So our character uses a staff, Grem uses an axe, Palm punches shit. It's basically Tifa. Cleo, I always think is like throwing knives, and Ted is a bow and arrow. Right, and leather coat. So again, we all have equipment with like armor defense ratings that you can see in the top right here. So I'm going to take that leather coat, and Ted cannot wear one, so he gets to stick with whatever he's got. So again, you've got all the classic hallmarks of the JRPG. Yeah, I think it's amazing how they managed to have like most of the playable characters, even outside of these 5, just have different weapons, which does mean we are scraping the barrel at some point. Aha. So, similar to how that Dragon Knight guy we met just like immediately started arguing with, this guy, Luke? I'm gonna go with Luke. Thinks we have visitors. And he's gonna activate his wind runes. So all the magic in this world is done with runes. And this guy's just gonna kick us into a boss fight. And the music is not as good as Final Fantasy for the boss fights. Golem. Very active. So we'll use our Unite attacks here. Don't think we've got anything that deals damage. We haven't really healed with anything, so we're going to throw some medicine to Gremio. And just, we only really have basic attacks at this point. There we go, so the Unite attack works. Everything else just seems to kind of bounce off. I honestly can't remember if that's the point, and this is your kind of tutorial so that you have to use the Unite attacks. Oh no, it just seems to be blocking these up. Okay, well that was fairly easy. And the first boss fight always is, and it's going to take us all the way up to level 5. Get some bits. So yeah, what the fuck, Luke? So yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, Palm's got a point here. It's like, why? We just turned up and you just summoned a fucking golem for us to beat. Even when he knows that he knows that we're coming. I just wanted to test you. Guess you're the real thing. What a dickbag. Let's do some healing. Medicine 6. Those two are fun. Oh, let's click that one. So yeah, the healing items come in packs of 6 in this game, which is actually quite appreciated because you end up doing quite a lot of healing. I remember this game being somewhat difficult from my youth. Not as difficult as 2. 2 has some difficulty spikes. And I don't intend on grinding anything out if I can avoid it. Let's walk up this palace. I remember these designs being so good for the time, and even like, again, it's tricky because Final Fantasy VII was just like such a completely different style, and that felt amazing as well, but it's did in a different way. Everything feels very hand-drawn. And this was also in the era before we had sprint lessons as standard. I feel like I'm climbing Shinra Tower. And yeah, this is Leknard, who's kind of like a seer, reads into the future and whatnot. And also, again, like most people, just seem to want to hit on us, even though we're very young. How do I feel about that? I mean, harassed, really. She has prepared her astral conclusions. I guess I'm going alone for whatever reason. So, she wants to know our name. We have Tia. Apparently friendly. Yeah, so she's basically an astrologist and is to see the future. And I'm going to try not to talk too much because I really enjoy this music track, which hopefully is coming through decently. So yes, the classic take of I can see into the future, but it is changeable, so if I predict doom and gloom, be assured, and you're going to be the one to fix it. So yeah, basically we've got a troubled future ahead, as is the prognostication for any JRPG protagonist. Okay, so job done. Everyone has patiently waited. Why do Japanese games always have one character who's obsessed with food? And Luck just teleports in. Yeah, Luck is Luck definitely appears in most of the Suikoden games. He's definitely in 2. And in the same way, like Ted alludes to being 300 years old, if I remember rightly, Luck is like 600 years old, but basically has the maturity of a small child. And yeah, so Leknart randomly gives Cleo a fire crystal. And I guess if I was to explain crystals again, if you know Final Fantasy VII, they're kind of like materia. So they're what going to give you magic powers, essentially. Here's Luck using his wind rune, which confers the ability to kind of teleport. Don't ask me what teleportation is, I've got no fucking idea. And we're all going to arrive and start all the shit out of this elephant dragon. And Ted, level scamp that he is, gets teleported right into the ground. Ted's just picking fights with everybody, and yeah, I agree with Gremio, I'm sick of it too. So yeah, we're going to fly back and deliver the astral conclusions, and then we should at some point be able to explain the fire crystals thing, because the way it does magic and the way it does weapons is different. If I remember rightly, like there's no weapon pickups in the game. It's not like you find better weapons or enemies drop better weapons. You spend money to sharpen them, which just makes them more and more deadly as we go on. So Black is gonna fly us back to Gregminster, so we can finish our job of being a glorified postman. So yeah, this is still very much acting as like a kind of tutorial element. And yeah, Fuckler's gonna go do some tourism. Gonna go to the theatre with his dragon. Can I interact with these cows? No, I can't. So let me see if I can bring this up. Okay, we can't quite do the rune thing yet. Part of me wants to remember it's like you kind of engrave it into someone's hand. I'm sure we'll get to that. And yes, Craze thinks we've taken too long, and our job is done. Yeah, I'm told that at my job all the time. And immediately we're into job number 2. Ah yes, Kanan is a silly giant scarf and hat combo. It's being sent to a different location, Rockland. Which, as you might guess, is going to be a mining town if I remember rightly, and hasn't paid its taxes. Kanan, as you'll see, just kind of parrots what Craze says, and we're we're being put in a very fun position here where we're just going and being like, hey, pay your tax, fuckers. And this is where you might begin to realise that the empire we're working for is potentially not the nicest group in the world. It doesn't sound like it, at least. Yeah, Kanan does not realise he's being a moron. Okay, so we're taking Kanan with us, and we're going to speak to a guy called Grady. I'm not sure how well I want to be the tax collector, especially as this guy's our superior. And, you know, frankly comes across, as Cleo says, like a creep. I would say dingus. Cleo tends to be the voice of reason, the voice of the player in this game. So yeah, you'll see it said there that Kanan follows rather than Kanan join the entourage, so he does not fight. He's just kind of, you know, an NPC who's with us and is going to pop up and be annoying. So we get to leave Greg Minton's to here and we'll get our first glimpse of the world map. I'm just going to try and sort out this rune thing because magic is fun. So where is it? I think this is the one for rune shop. Look at the crystal ball. So yeah, we go here, and yes, you can attach runes, and they all do different things. So Ted has question marks, so we can't attach anything to him. Pan has the boar rune. Cannot remember what that does. But yeah, so we can imbue this fire crystal, and you know, Legnart specifically said to give this to Cleo. Cleo kind of ends up being like our primary magic user, if I remember rightly. At least that seems to be the inference. So now Cleo gets the fire rune. Can't quite explore what that does yet, but we should in our first battle as we leave the town. So let's head to Rockland. And yeah, here's our world map. It's lovely stirring music, and you know, as you might expect, we can travel across it, but we are, you know, liable to bump into random encounters here as well. So I just kind of, yeah. And it's mosquitoes. And you'll see the run has changed to let go. So one of the nice things the game puts in, and you know, Suikoden for how early it was, has quite a few quality of life elements, is that this let go means like this enemy's very weak. You can just run away from this and don't have, like, it's different to run. Run has a failure chance, whereas let go I think just works. But let's give a chance to show these runes. So we can now use Pan's, the ball rune. We can't use Cleo's yet. I'm not sure why that is. I might just be misremembering something. I might just imbue the weapon with fire. We'll see. So yeah, one hits enough to kill. They do 1 damage to us because, you know, they're mosquitoes. And yeah, this is Pan's ball rune, which basically means he punches it a whole lot. And yes, so we've already got some status effects here. Now, while this game has lots of quality of life, it's not very great at explaining what everything is. I cannot remember what the little gremlin with a poker is, but you can also see Pan's got this like flashing unbalanced thing. Which basically means he used his ball rune, he punched too hard and he's dizzy, so all he can do is defend. And all defend does means that you don't attack, and if you are hit by something, you take less damage. We are missing with everything. We can just free will this. Okay, I think the gremlin thing is poison. And may also confer a mischance. It's not clear. I also can't remember if poison and unbalance carry over to next battles. I think Pan's is just for 1 turn. I think it does carry over. Yeah, so I think the way it's flashing. Yeah, so yeah, the way that was flashing, poison does carry over to the rest of the game. Use some medicines. Actually, I probably shouldn't have used medicines because we put it onto an input. Yeah, we're here now. So yeah, it's almost like Pokemon where, you know, once something's poisoned, even if you walk around it, it's still poisoned. We are being challenged to a contest. Oh god. Suikoden has a lot of gambling elements, including, I guess, this version of free card Monty. And if I remember rightly, the more you bet, it can get very, very impossible to tell where everything is. I think this is in the middle. Great. Big hit. Almost saying victory. So we made 100 gil there. But yeah, there's a lot of gambling mini-games in Suikoden, including, I think, in Suikoden 2. There's one that, like, literally blocks your progress in the game until you beat it. Which is normally, like, fine in one way. You know, like some antitoxins. You get 4 for a go. You also have escape talismans to kind of just immediately get home. But we don't need anything like that yet. Yeah, and which is like, it's one thing to have a gambling game block progress, but it's completely random, so you get stuck. Yeah, so you're going to get the vibe of what Rockland is like just from these two people. But yes, our Imperial Army and Emperor Barbarossa kind of took over, and the people of Rockland are struggling not only to pay tax but struggling to eat. So they're going to be very popular. Yep, a hungry child. Yeah, so kind of Emperor. So yeah, Rocklands is a town that's struggling a little bit. And we'll go in here. So so this is the kind of blacksmith, if I remember rightly. Oh, this is the equipment store. So yeah, you can, like any game, you can kind of buy equipment, and what's quite handy, again, like the quality of life in this game for how early it was is quite nice. If it's an improvement for a character, you can see in the bottom there that it's green, and if it's a downgrade, it's red. This is so much nicer than having to compare everything. And you can immediately, and you can see the difference on what it's going to do to those people when you equip it to them. I don't think I'm going to be doing any purchasing right now, apart from those gloves, which I didn't mean to buy. We've got them now. Ah, okay, you can buy 2 gloves. I guess that makes sense. Oh, I wish this game had a dash button. I feel like every JRPG should have a dash button. I've already been in the item shop. That's fine. Okay, so there's some problems with bandits. And this is Master Grady, so this is the military commander, the guy we're supposed to meet to kind of figure out why they're not paying their taxes. Yeah, Kanan's going to throw his seniority around to get us in. Most people in power in this game are dinks, and Grady's no exception. Yes, his tune certainly changes. So what's he got to say for himself in his ornate room? Yep, so Grady's well aware that the taxes haven't been paid. And this is the explanation. So bandits from Mount Sifu are kind of causing some problems. And yeah, you can see where this is going. Yes, here's the balance. Partner wanting to fight. And Cleo a bit more circumspect. Shut up. Kanan's such a dink. So Mount Seifu is east of Rockland, so we consider continuing our odyssey to the east. So yeah, Kanan's going to order us to go there. I think if you say that you want to go home, it doesn't really impact anything. You don't get to go home, they just insist you do it. Right, let's say 30. These are some gravestones. Here lies a Northern River. Good night until we meet again. Here lies a farmer. As long as there was sunlight, I was able to grow anything. They're not exactly inspiring tombstones, are they? So I'm not sure why Cleo can't do anything yet. Another thing that's worth noting is, with the formation stuff, you can see everyone's got like a letter next to them, like an S, an M, or an L. That kind of interacts with the tactics, so people who've got an S can only go in the front row, people with an L can only go in the back row, this is to do their damage. M, they can go anywhere. Those people for some reason. I think when people can actually go in the front row, it just makes them a lot more vulnerable to damage than they would be. That was good, and it is. It's nice, relaxing music. Don't chicken out because of the bandits. Yeah, right back at you, Kane. Who wants to go right at the back? So yeah, as you may have gathered, Kanan will throw around his power when he can, but is a complete dink and a coward. And yeah, you begin to see a bit more dynamics. Ted's a little bit more mischievous. Senator Parr wants to do some action, and Gremmy is like, no, please be safe. And into the mountain we go. Yeah, so that's the let go. It's basically it's the run option, except you're basically guaranteed to get it. You can't do it with higher level enemies. And to us, there's not much point unless you're going to get very limited experience. There's a lot of missing going on here from everyone. And you know, I think it's one of those things that is just worth picking up the experience, especially when you just hit free will. And that's when you know a critical hit has happened. If it zooms in, that means a crit is about to be landed. So again, some standard key RPG there. We've got here some medicine and boots. Sorry, I heard a weird popping noise there. I hope that wasn't coming through. Yeah, these early battles are quite easy and don't really rely on much strategy. Just to ease people in. Let's equip these boots to someone. In typical fashion, I will be prioritising myself for a lot of things. Now, I did say there was a lot of quality of life. It's not everywhere. So for someone to wear the equipment, they have to have the equipment in their own personal inventory. So inventory isn't just like one inventory. Everyone's got their own little bit of inventory. As you can see here. And they can only use the items in their inventory. So for stuff like medicine, for example, you actually really do want to spread that out across people. It is one of the downsides to the system. But it similarly goes for equipment. You can only equip something that someone already has, which just makes it a little bit annoying to use. I'm also just going to swap this back because I forgot the thing that whoever is the most leftward of the party gets all the items. Again, for whatever reason. Black Wild Boar. Brown to me. And again, you can tell they're more difficult because it's not let go, it's run. So we'll use the Unite on one of them. Yeah, we'll just see how easy these guys are to take down. And they certainly take less damage and deal quite a bit more. The tyre skidding sound. Okay, critical, finish that off. And that's going to take us to level 6. And pick up some bits. Yes, immediately a 5-way fork. And it's worth exploring all the areas for this. Because you find stuff like this. So antiques. So you can find antiques throughout the world, and every town will have somewhere that can appraise them. And typically then you just either sell them for money, or at some points you will have an opportunity to have them put on display. If you'd like to bring a bit of Animal Crossing into your game. Okay, so that's another path. Oh god. The literal soldier ants with helmets. I did forewarn the enemy design in this game is pretty out there. That may have been hard to see during all that, but what can happen in this game is not only can enemy attacks and your attacks miss, they can be countered. So you miss, I think it's a random chance that you can obviously boost through like stats or items, but you miss and then, or the enemy misses you and you then get to strike back. Doesn't appear to be anything up there. Actually, I'll probably do some healing. You can see that Gremio is on one knee, which is kind of like that please heal your character moment. Thankfully, he dodged out of that one. I'm just going to free will this, we can heal afterwards. So this was just a random dead end. So yeah, Tyr and Gremio have been eating the most damage. Give them some healing. More ants. Yeah, so none of the enemies are particularly threatening at this point in the game, as you might expect. It'll be probably the next stream that we do this, is where you begin to see them a bit more. I mean, auto skips past all these, but if you can broadly see the stats in general, if I remember rightly. Yes, strength. And you kind of see what people's skills are. So Pan, very high attack, very high armour and power, really low on that speed and magic. Gremio is a bit more of an all-rounder. We are strong on armor, we're kind of strong on everything, because you're the protagonist. Cleo's got the highest magic of anybody with decent kind of attack, and Ted's got pretty high magic, pretty good skill. I can't remember what skill measures, if I'm completely honest with you. Defense rune piece. Yep, you just use that on yourself for better defense. Again, it's that classic thing. It's like, well, you know that the person that you are in the game is going to be in the party the whole time, so give them all the stat ups. Nice. The enemies are quite easy to deal with at this point. Okay, so we have two different exits. We'll try and cover all of them. I'm definitely someone who likes to explore every nook and cranny of the map. And it's not like we're struggling in here with the enemies. Like, it's already at the point where, you know, the experience game is quite light, that I'd almost consider skipping past them entirely. Okay, so that's definitely the way to kind of progress. So we'll go through the other entrance quickly in case there's an item. Beat the shit out of these because they only do 1 damage. I kind of feel me beating them up. That'll take us to level 7. I really can't remember why Cleo can't use the fire rune yet. I don't know if I just forgot to do something. Nothing more frustrating with a random encounter ahead of a treasure chest. You just want to see what's inside. Again, this feels very on theme with Twitch right now. Okay, so we can actually progress through this place. Well, if we just keep critting, we'll make these go very quickly. Yeah, so the enemies that we're encountering are pretty pedestrian right now, both in terms of kind of their threat, but also their design, because if the furs earlier didn't indicate, this game has some absolute batshit designs. Some of them are actually pretty cool, but a lot of them are just absolute fucking nonsense. Some medicine, some escape talisman. The escape talisman basically just would let us exit the dungeon and go to the outside and into safety. So not too exciting. I don't think I've ever used one. Oh, leggings. So leggings. Play an other. Doesn't look like it. Who's got it first of all? Oh, Pawn's got it. So leggings are defense +2. Okay, so Pawn doesn't need them. I'm very, very glad they fixed this for Suikoden too. Because it's so inefficient. So these ants have actual spears and things. They're so pathetic as well. So easily defeated. Okay, ants officially beaten up. Ah yes, you'll spot that enemy there, which we're going to slowly spiral towards. And you would be correct in assuming this is going to be a boss fight. Could have just free-willed that. This is really the only JRPG where I've used the kind of auto-battler system. Like, I just can't bring myself to do it in anything else. Like, even playing through like a more recent game like Octopath Traveler, I just don't trust the game. But in this one, it's kind of hard to really mess it up because they will literally only auto-attack. They will not use any magic or anything. Like, when we can actually use magic, we will get to it. And yes, the Queen Ant. Let's get a talisman on here. So just clear the ants out the way. Ah, we did 8. And the ants have been replenished already. And yeah, so the rows work in the same way here. So the reason Cleo and Ted aren't taking any damage is because in the long range, these physical attacks can't actually reach them, and similarly we can't reach the Queen Ant. Unless we're using some sort of special attack. But the long range weapons can reach the Queen Ant's attack. So you can see some of the dynamics here. And we are barely doing any damage. I think, if I remember rightly, this is a can't win. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, I'm just going to free roll this because if I remember rightly, this is a good old can't win fight. Yup, we've been sucked into the earth. Count. Yeah, okay, there we go. Kanan's being a dink. And we've got ourselves in quite the pickle. And the kind of mysterious Ted has an idea. I'm not in control of this, so... And just like that, the Queen Ant is dead. This was our first instance of magic being used. Seems a lot better than the physical attacks. I agree with Kanan for the first time. What the fuck? And Ted's going to continue to be elusive about this. And will tell us later. And yes, Kanan kind of off-screen to nobody, saying that Craze had mentioned something about this. So yeah, Ted's got some sort of secret superpower, which can just one-shot enemies. Thunder rune piece. I'm not going to do anything with the rest of the rune pieces because I can't remember if they can be imbued into weapons. Or forged into other things. It will all come back to me eventually. I'm much more familiar with Suikoden 2, which I've finished God knows how many times. But Suikoden 1 I think I've only played through 2 or 3 times, and that's a lot more hazy in my memory. Piss off, ants. suppose we killed your queen. Okay, so this is a save point. Save it to the old memory card. Man, an hour and 12 minutes already. Time flies. Okay, so we've emerged from the cave. Varkas with his jock strap on his chin. I mean, generally as a rule, if I was dealing with bandits, I would never lead off with "Listen up, you bandits." Yeah, what are the odds that Kanan's gonna kind of run his mouth off and then leave it to us to deal with? Varkas the Whirlwind Axe. In Sidonia with some wonderful 80s hair, that's luxuriant. The Marksman. And yeah, we're gonna have a scrap. So we're just dealing with we've killed a lot of these guys in the caves already. There's an example of a counter attack. One getting whomped for an almighty 4 points of damage. Okay, so they were quite easily repelled. Yeah, so right into another boss fight. I mean, if there's anything Suikoden is not lacking, it's boss fights. If I remember rightly, Varkas is the particularly threatening one here. And you'll notice we cannot use the magic Ted just used. He still has control over that, so we can't just dink him. Huh, the old teleport there. Crits on both sides. The Unite attack is pretty good. And Unite attacks are basically really powerful and you can just keep using them for an unlimited amount. Oh, the Sidonians are proving a bit trickier. But nothing in Unite attack can't figure out. If there's one thing I'll say for Suikoden is it's a fairly unbalanced game at points. Like you just have access to things quite easily that are very hard for the enemy to keep up with. Which, you know, isn't necessarily the biggest problem. It can make some of the boss fights a little bit trivial like that. Although these are the early ones, we're on to ones that kind of require a bit more forethought and strategy. He's such an ass, Kanan. And again, yeah, clear voice of the player. I'll be honest, I kind of sympathise with Sidonia and Varkas. You know, tax sucks. Although, you know, they are kind of pillaging, so maybe not. Okay, so this will be us done with Mount Sifu. We don't have to go through the cave again. We'll spare us that. Let's deliver our quarry to Rockland. So stay at the inn for 30 bits. And then yeah, let's deposit these fellas off. interesting. Some debate over who's screwing over who here. And note how Grady doesn't really respond to that and just has them taken away. $10,000 bits? Damn. Complete with comedy music. Yeah, and Kanan's a dink, so we're going to try and head off to deal with that. I'm just going to pause quickly just to get some water, so stay right there. Something in. Apologies for any not particularly fun noises you hear. Oh dear, what have I done now? Sorry, that was probably quite unpleasant to hear. I'm trying to close that again. Got a bit of a loose audio cable. There we go. This is not a problem I anticipated having. Okay. Well, that didn't get fixed at all. Well, nonetheless, we shall continue, although I now have to say that I can't see chat. Oh right, I did not want to gamble. That was never my intent. I just losing 10,000 bits isn't a massive deal, just because, you know, we already had quite a bit of money just from beating up indiscriminately. Right, so let's go back to Gregminster. Well, work is done. Ah, yes. Kanan, pretending that he's being nice from the rest, is just going to take credit for everything. Yes, this is one thing we learned. Gremio is great at cooking. And this game has cooking in it. If you thought Final Fantasy 15 was a hell of a game on cooking, it was not. This game did a lot of it. Yeah, and Ted is being yoinked to go with Kanan to Commander Craze. As you may have suspected from what we saw earlier, this has everything to do with that fucking magic he just pulled out there. Because that was pretty... He just sucked a thing into the ground and it disappeared. Didn't even get like a death animation, it just went. So let me just see if in case I did this rune thing wrong. Doesn't look like it. I might just be forgetting something. The game ain't great on its tutorials. Let's put it that way. Okay, so we're home. Everyone's gonna rest / make food. It's interesting the game already seems to think that we were away for like days there and that we've been camping out eating dried meat, when in reality it's felt like 10 minutes. And yes, Pan will eat anything. So we've been made some tea. Oh, I guess it's just to send us downstairs. And what's happened here? Ted is in some distress and has some sort of magic wound and is bleeding everywhere, which I guess they haven't drawn on. I don't know why it doesn't give you, why it gives you these options. Why would you not help? I don't think it affects anything, it just makes you look like an absolute asshole. So we're going to come up with some theories for this. It's also one of the things I really enjoy about this game, just from a subtle note, is you look at Ted in bed, and anyone who's in bed, all you can see is like their hair and their eyes, and it just makes everyone look like they're either really angry or just playing peekaboo with the sheets. And Ted is stirring awake. Or at least moaning a lot. Okay, so we're flashing back to Kanan and Ted. And Ted's meeting with Windy. It's been a while, hasn't it? And yes, that reference to Ted claiming to be 300 years old now becomes more prescient. These two have history. He wants that room. Again, a little bit of context. So magic in this world is done by using runes that are attached to your hands. So in the same way we've attached that fire rune to Cleo's hand, Ted has a rune embedded in his. As you may have guessed from the Queen Ant deal, it's quite a powerful one. Yes, the Soul Eater, the cursed rune. And Ted's going to use that to get out of harm's way. So the Soul Eater is a pretty constant influence in Suikoden games. And there's lots of runes in the world, but this is one that's known as like one of the 27 true runes. Which have particularly powerful and devastating kind of effects. And as you can imagine from the name Soul Eater, that's kind of what we did to that Queen Ant. We just kind of ate its soul. And yeah, this immediately kind of puts us in a situation where, our kind of childhood friend has basically attacked several senior people within our own organisation. But as you can imagine, we're gonna stick by his side. Particularly as Pan is nothing but a loyalist. That's all everyone got to say. Cleo, who's definitely the brains of our group, is aware of this. Pan's going to go buy some medicine. But we have so much of that in our inventory already. And it's raining. It gives us the shivers. These are all bad omens. I mean, it's a very good question. You can't just throw terms like Soul Eater around. Again, like, the game gives you some dialogue options, and there's just one that's just clearly, like, not only belligerent, but why would you just do it? Like, why would you just, like, can I ask you a favour? No, fuck off. Yes, so Cleo knows what's up here. So we've removed his glove, so again, runes are embedded into hands, so we can now see the Soul Eater rune. And Lady Windy wants it. And yeah, we find ourselves being dragged into this kind of like very long 300-year pursuit, where Ted's been basically trying to hide in plain sight, and helping us beat that Queen Ant has kind of revealed who he is. A little bit of a slip up, to be honest. So yeah, it's going to be given to us. We are going to be given the most destructive power in the world. And yeah, as things like this do, they tend to bring misery and misfortune. But it'll be worse if the bad guys get it. Sorry, I love that dramatic flourish. Yeah, as you can imagine, shit's about to go down. And here is Craze. And yeah, as you may have suspected, Pan was not getting medicine. Pan was selling Ted out. It's worth one of the things. Pan is very loyal to Tio. In the same way Gremio will do anything for us, Pan will do anything for Tio. Thankfully, Cleo's got more of a backbone, as do the rest of us. Certainly hope that Ted's saying this quietly. Again, I'm just going to... actually, no, morally I would say no here, to be honest. You stand by your friend's side. And yeah, we don't really have an option here. We have to kind of let Ted sacrifice himself. So we are going to bolt. You can also see they didn't have a canonical name that you were forced to use here, which is why we are constantly referred to as Young Master, and we'll have various different honorifics throughout the game And yeah, Ted has given us the Soul Eater rune and is sacrificing himself. And in 300 years, we were his only true friend. And this is definitely one of the things that you will see with Suikoden, is that in some ways it's quite a sad game. It's very sorrowful. You know, people are forced to make difficult, tough decisions. Can't get out that way. I don't know why I thought I'd be able to get out through the front door, to be honest. But what other way is there? And yeah, there definitely is a sense of, you know, of loss throughout the game. I think it's a bit of a contrast to a lot of games that don't really allow you to have that. Yeah, I'm legitimately unsure about where to go here. And this bit I don't remember. Possibly the inn? Okay, it was the inn. I don't know what you'd think to go there given everything else is locked. I mean, her portrait is in a state of shock. She's kind of like, oh! And thankfully, Marie's going to help us. And yeah, suddenly our party of 5 has become a party of 3. Yeah, Cleo has a solid plan. So I think we just immediately... I'm going to try and click on everything here. I feel like you're supposed to get on the roof somehow. So these two aren't offering anything up. Oh, right. Okay, so it stopped me the first time and then didn't the second time. You can see why I'd get confused. Should we pay our bill? No, but we'll save. Definitely need to stay. I love telling people to be fools. Yeah, we've quickly become persona non grata. I guess just for escaping, even like, and for kind of sheltering Ted, I guess. You know, scrap and oh, I forgot he turns up this early. Here's Victor. He makes a very good point. Would the fugitives still be in town? They possibly couldn't be that stupid. Turns out we are that stupid. We're even dressed in like the very eye-catching regalia that we typically are. And thankfully this guy's coming to help. And Marie did not weasel on us either. So we've been rescued by Victor, who's used this as an elaborate diamond dash, basically. I mean, to be honest, we could have done with the help. So yeah, let's pursue Victor. So yeah, Victor knows that we've very rapidly become fugitives, and wants to help us get out, and we really don't have an alternative. So yeah, we're kind of forced to trust him. Oh yeah, I can't see chat very well, but yeah, this is an old school game. I don't know if you remember it. Kuna. What was the trick? Oh yeah, so basically, yeah, this is where the plot really begins to kind of kick in a bit more. So he's going to help us escape, and then we have to go somewhere and do a favour. So you can begin to see where this is all going to intermingle. So we get Victor. Victor is a lot better than the rest of us, and we will stick him up front because he is short-ranged. Alright, so Victor's going to go talk to them. Let's see how this goes. I believe bribery was employed. To be honest, from what I remember, I was just expecting him to just punch the guy. Yeah, bribery. Yeah, Victor's a scam. He's bribed the guards with our own money. I enjoy Victor. He's very streetwise and sensible, whereas Gremio is very naive and just concerned about kind of protecting us and very little else, and isn't particularly smart. I've immediately forgotten where Lane and Camp is. I was not paying attention. It's a soldier ant, but red. The enemies in this game are weird. Yeah, so Victor's a couple levels below us, but he is got a lot more HP, and he's typically just, you know, hit thing with sword man. Like, I remember the first time I played through this, he was like a mainstay of the party. I'm going south because that's just where I assume Laning Camp is. An actual evolution of the first the Bonbon. You will see a lot of reusing of sprites, which, you know, it's the 90s. So, can't really blame them. Is this Laning Camp? Okay, good. I just lucked into it. Ha 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 ha. So we just need to kind of dot about town for a little bit. So this is where the game kind of opens up a little bit more. Now we can kind of do what we want. These people have a daughter who's left home. We should send her back. She's chased after adventure, as we do. So there should be an inn here that we don't really need to use, but we'll save. There's a rune shop as well. Can't do anything there. What do you have to say? is bad for business. I'd argue war is just bad. There's nothing to buy here. No. One thing that this game has no sense of scale, and the buildings look very small on the outside, and then it gets magically massive on the inside. Okay, cool. So this is the blacksmith. So you can do a few things here. Firstly, those rune fragments we found, you can put in your weapons. So let's give Gremio some thunder attachment. And the way you upgrade weapons in this game is by sharpening, which is basically you always have the same weapon. You just sharpen it to deal more damage. You can see it's got these levels. So level this up. It becomes level 2. The attack is 7. And you can just keep doing this as long as your money holds out. So I'm just leveled up ours quite a bit. And it does occasionally upgrade into something like Dragon Fang Staff, which is when you've kind of upgraded it by a certain amount. There's suspicious people who go to the inn. So I suppose we'll be in the inn at some point. And yes, this is Kryn. We'll see more of him. He's informing us again of the fact that random pots and pans can be given to people for appraising. So yeah, the blacksmithing thing's pretty unique for this point, because I mean, otherwise, like, a lot of games are just doing, like, find different weapons and all that. Armory. Buy a pointed hat. Why not? I guess we've just upgraded Tyr's weapons so we can give Gremio some defense. A lot of the equipment kind of comes with random benefits, particularly just the bizarre status effects that exist in this game. This one, the pointed hat, prevents balloon. Can't remember what balloon does, I just know it's called balloon, it's very weird. I'm just going to mute myself to sneeze. Actually, I don't need to sneeze. All 108 stars? Possibly. I've never actually done a full 108 stars run. I've gotten very close to it on Suikoden 2. Like, there's a real time-sensitive thing you have to do that I've never quite pulled off. And it's the only reason I haven't done it is because I'm pretty sure I've never looked at the guide to figure out the specific things you have to do. Oh yeah, you have to stay at the inn to get the secret Victor thing. Everyone ignore that really suspicious clock. But yeah, in this game, yeah, you can collect all 108 other characters, which is basically 100%ing it, which I've never been able to pull off. But I am tempted. Yeah, I know it's... I've never actually looked at trying to do it for Suikoden 1. Suikoden 2 has... Firstly, you need a save file from Suikoden 1 to do it in Suikoden 2, I think. Oh, okay, so we're being chased pretty quickly. There's the big dramatic flourish. But yeah, I might try and do all 108. I can look at a guide, because it's not as if I'm going to be spoiling myself or anything. Well, looks like we are once again in a very shitty situation in an inn. Gremio does not trust Victor, even though he helped us out of the previous jam. Again, Gremio is very naive. Cleo very much ends up being the kind of sensible one of the party. I would like to fight. I wasn't kidding, we can take him. I've got the Soul Eater rune, for fuck's sake. Yes, the suspicious clock. this is yeah, so once again we are saved from near Doomland Inn. And we're right into the sewers. And this is Odessa. And we're going to meet Victor and his friends. After we check for items. It was exciting. Cleo's typically on top of things, and yeah, you may have seen earlier some references to the Liberation Army, or the Rebel Army, and basically this is them. At the moment, it's 5 people, led by this person, Odessa Silverberg. Victor's one of them, as is this Flick guy, and you'll see a lot of Victor and Flick. Hell of a double act. And he is trying to recruit us. Maybe I should join. Maybe I should join the rebels. Always join the rebels. They're normally rebelling for a good cause. And so he says he's interested. This game has some pretty bad translations at some point. This game never stops on the plot details. Immediately we've met the rebel army, and 2 minutes in, like, we've got a traitor. I can't remember who the traitor is, or even if there is one. So yeah, we're not being recruited here yet, but they're happy to kind of stash us for now. And again, it's just this very quick turn from like, we were the son of a hero and we just started in the army, and immediately we're just like, join the rebels. Everything in this game happens very quickly. Is there any items down here? Before we talk to everyone and start off another cutscene. Yeah. A lightning flick of the Liberation Army. Oh, and there's Humphrey and Sanchez. So yeah, everyone's going to have a portrait. Sanchez is a wizened old man. And Humphrey is the silent type. So I guess we have to try and leave. And for the second time today, we found a half-dead man at the bottom of the stairs. So you see things beginning to coalesce here, and so this is one of the bandits from Mount Sifu, who thankfully doesn't recognise us, because we beat the shit out of Arcus and Sidonia. It's like the David Mitchell sketch, like in full Nazi regalia, being like, "Are we the baddies?" Turns out we have been the baddies. And Grady's a pretty horrible punishment, just literally tying them to a pole without trial and just starving them. And this is when the penny begins to drop that, yeah, we've been working with bad guys. And Odessa is a real purist and wants to help the bandits. And we all fess up. Spikes want to be like, this has nothing to do with me. Sidles out of screen. So yeah, we've confessed the fact that, you know, basically they're all tied up because of us. And now we're gonna go help them. popular. Thankfully, Gremio's loyalty to us is greater than that to the nation. So I'll be going back to Rockland pretty quickly. We get to take Victor with us. And like Victor seems like fairly overpowered at first, because he's got a lot more health and he does a lot more damage. But I think basically he levels off a bit more in terms of like impact on game towards like the middle and everything. And also is like completely useless with magic, if I remember rightly. Very much the kind of like Barret type. Rocklands, that's north and east. One tiny ant. And as you can imagine, like the most powerful character ends up being us. But I think the game again, because you've got 6 party members, you get to rotate quite a lot, and you get to do a lot of experimenting with again, like they're kind of like, although you can't play all 108 characters, you can pick up a hell of a lot of them, and they're very varied. It's actually one of those that, like, the game's never really been famous enough for speedrunning. And I'd be really curious to see if there's, like, great lineups for speedrunning. I mean, if I had anywhere near the time in my life, I'd be tempted to speedrun it myself. Ah, we've got crows now as well. I think we can still free will this. And there's nothing to really show off for Victor apart from the fact that he just attacks regularly. I think he attacks a lot more than everyone else. Except he missed. Fuck's sake, Victor, you're messing up my stream. Oh damn, big hit. There's no map, so I'm probably going to get a little bit lost on the way to Rockland. He says, immediately finding it. Right, so let's quickly save. Yeah, staying at inns is like largely for saving, because you don't need to recover your health that much, because like curing stuff and medicine is pretty plentiful, and when we actually have access to magic, I'll explain a bit more, but there basically is no NP in the game. And yes, here are our bandit friends just being tied up to starve, which is a pretty horrible way to go. Yeah, I never ended up with the really OP characters. I've always just gone with who I like. And to be honest, I couldn't even tell you who the OP characters are. I've just like... Victor has basically set the building on fire, so we can sneak in. But yeah, it's not like... I mean, broadly with like JRPGs, I've never really figured out who the OP characters are. It's not like Final Fantasy VII either, where it's like there's particularly like OP spells, like Aquilum. It's like, is there anything I can steal quickly? Ah, there is. After a fight. Okay, these guys hit a bit harder. Yeah, as you can see, Victor hits for like a good 20-30 more points of damage than anyone else does. You may have noticed one of those enemies was flashing blue. That's because we've put the Thunder Rune on Gremio's weapon. Okay, so let's fight our way through some chumps. But yeah, I mean, there probably are like OP characters. And yeah, you're right, like a lot of... We'll see as we go through the game, like a lot of the key moments or key plot points, you only really get flexibility over like 3 or 4 of your party. Fight for items. Okay, let's take out one soldier first to get the captain. Okay, we can use runes now. So we've got a single target one and we've got one that hits everyone, but I'm not going to use that yet because you may expect there's a boss fight coming up. fire hits hard. But yeah, a lot of the key plot moments you have to take specific people. Like you end up having to take Gremio and Cleo quite a bit, as the kind of like the people there from the start. And then like various ones you just have to take someone along, which can be a bit of a pain because it's not like oh, brass armors. It's not like other games where like if you've got loads of people it will. Oh, he's got it. I hate this inventory system, I have to say. Yeah, it's not like a lot of games where it'll kind of level everyone up in the background. So occasionally you'll just like have to take someone who's still at level 8 while you're like at level 12. I won't use like here. One thing I'll point out is again you don't have MP, but you can see these numbers by the right. And basically every time after you rest, you get a certain amount of charges of each one. So in this case, the really strong AoE one we get like 3 uses, and then everything else we get 1. Whack. But yeah, it's kind of and yeah, you can see here on the screen that yellow star, the 3/000 is kind of like how many uses of each level of magic you currently have. I mean, Tyr has the Soul Eater rune now, so we can use that, but you tend to save that for when you really need it. Oh, let's get fighting. We actually can't use Tears now, I'm not sure why. That might be for plot reasons. Because I know that Gremio's still got one as well. And then Cleo's just randomly activated, so I'm not really sure. I'll just keep freeloading it for now. Yeah, one thing I've always liked about the magic in this game is that they really put a lot of effort into the animations and whatnot. Damn, this is going badly. Okay, so Gremio's down. Maybe I shouldn't have just been using free will. Let's take out the captain first. There we go. I'd like to not wipe the party on stream number 1. But yeah, they put a lot of effort into the actual animations. Yeah. And this is something that's also worth bearing in mind is you get no XP if someone dies. Yeah, Varkas is going to be surprised they're actually here to save him. We're having a hell of a day. And yeah. Sidonia's just like, yeah, I could have teleported out at any point. Yeah, Varkas is justifiably baffled. I feel like we should have a boss fight pretty imminently. God, controlling anything with a D-pad is miserable. Like, thank God Sony invented the analog sticks. It's a pretty strong threat. I can see why Grady might want to back off. And yeah, he's bothered. Yeah, I don't think the Empire is going to take us back, considering we've just set one of their buildings on fire and freed some prisoners. So, you know, don't really think we're going to work for those guys anyway. Right, I am not in control of this. Okay, job done. Yeah, Victor definitely giving us the hard sell. And this is kind of like one of the themes, like, as you may expect, we are going to join the rebel army. And it's this kind of, you know, slow build of bringing all these ragtag elements together, like the bandits and some other groups will meet. It does actually kind of capture a kind of insurgency campaign pretty well. And it's one of the nice things about this game. It really gives you that sense quite a bit. So let's look at the mysterious clock. And report back. All our problems are solved. We're very much at the whims of these people right now, as young kids on the run. Plans for a fire spear. And Cleo is right to go, the fuck's a fire spear? It's a weapon. I really don't know why they can't leave the hideout unattended. It's the sewer. So yeah, we're doing more. Gremio's still not really on board with this. And, you know, Odessa's got a point. We've just seen that for all of this stream that the Empire are complete bastards. And yeah, we're going to join these rebels. Everyone's acting very black and white here. So yeah, we're going to send these blueprints for fire spears. We have to find a secret factory, because it's the northwest, across the river, Mount Tidewolf. Saradi. I'm going to end this stream after this conversation, so I'm going to forget all this. So Odessa's got a good feeling about us, I guess. So yeah, if you haven't guessed, Odessa and Flick are quite close. We have to take Odessa with us. I can't remember if Odessa... Yeah, so Odessa is level 6. And is, yeah, a magic user as well. And that's where we're going to call it, because it's gone past 10 already. This kind of flew by, actually. 2 hours. But man, I do enjoy this game. So, yeah, thanks for watching. We'll be doing this every Thursday. As for me, I'll be back on Saturday for Magic. Finishing off this kind of standard season before Ikoria, which looks kind of rad, to be honest. So yeah, thanks for coming along. Follow, like, share, subscribe, stuff like that, and have a nice